Hello and welcome to today's Ask the Expert session. Our session today is Build Intelligent Applications Infused with World-Class AI. And before we get into the question and answering section, I wanted to go through a few logistics. Please use the chat in the meeting to ask any questions. We will go through the questions in the chat, and also please upvote the ones because we will prioritize based on votes. The questions will appear after they're approved by the moderator. And we have experts that are both on camera and experts that are in chat to help answer these questions. Also, at the end of today's session, we will post some resources so you can dig deeper into these areas. So some etiquette for the session. The code of conduct was posted in the chat, and generally, please just be respectful to everybody so we can have a great chat. So now I'd like to introduce the experts. My name is Erin Dormeyer. I'm your moderator for this chat. So next, Alan, could you please introduce yourself and your expertise?
Sure. My name is Alan Bachman. I am a principal program manager in the AI frameworks section, Azure AI.
Great, thank you. And Andrew? Could you unmute yourself, please?
Right. My name is Andrew Clear. I'm a principal program manager on the conversational AI portion of the Azure Bot Service.
Thank you. Anand?
Hi, my name is Anand Raman, and I'm also a principal program manager in the Azure Cognitive Services side of the organization.
Great, thank you. And we also have Elena, Gary, and Fani who are on chat answering your questions as well. So again, please put your questions into the chat and we'll be able to answer those. So to start, first I'd like to ask a question to Andrew about bot. So what's the difference between Azure Bot Service, Power Virtual Agents, Health Bot, and the virtual assistant bots?
Awesome question. So as we've grown in the conversational AI space over the last few years, we've had different portions grow up sort of organically, but they're all of those offerings are built on top of the Azure Bot Framework protocol itself that sort of connects all of these different services, and these are all just kind of flavors built on top of it that are specific for different things. So for like, we have the PDA offering, which is a software as a service offering targeted for the to the rest sort of in the same space as the Power Platform users in general are. So it's a low code, no code sort of managed service offering. The Health Bot is custom tailored to fit healthcare needs. So if you needed to build, things like a self-attestation bot or stuff like that, it has modules pre-built that you can add quickly and easily to its editing canvas for your bot. Then we have the bot framework SDK and bot service itself, which just allows you to jump on and play with the protocol and work and build your bot organically directly through code. All of this stuff is all built on the same framework, so they interop pretty well. We have you can consume other bots built from PDA. You can have a PDA bot that consumes a bot framework bot as a skill, for example, or from PDA you can open a one of your dialogues and edit it inside Composer, which is typically used for editing bot framework bots directly. So all of these things sort of interop and work well together, but in general, they're all built on top of the bot framework, and we continue to unify this platform and help make it so that you can build rich conversational AI experiences wherever your customers are.
Great, thank you, Andrew. And speaking of bot service, that is part of our newly announced applied AI services. So the next question I have is for Anand. So what are the new applied AI services and how are they different from the other cognitive services?
Sure. I think most of you are familiar with Azure Cognitive Services, where we provide the core AI capabilities, which are pre-built and out-of-the-box capabilities, right? More and more as we engage with customers and organizations, as they widely adopt AI to accelerate the digital transformations, the asks have been mostly about building and enabling faster applications of AI to common scenarios without requiring any machine learning expertise. And this is exactly what we have done with Applied AI services that we announced today. As an example of such a service is Azure Form Recognizer, which automates processing of paperwork by bringing together vision models as well as the language models together to build these capabilities. So many of our partners such as Automation Anywhere, UiPath, Blue Prism take advantage of form recognizers to build the robotic process automation. Similarly, we have Azure Metrics Advisor, which helps organizations to quickly detect and diagnose issues. That's an example of another applied AI services. So we have Azure Bot Services. We have also newly introduced capability video analytics, Azure Video Analytics for media. So these are the new set of services that we have packaged together in this new category called Applied AI Services.
Thank you, Anand. Next, I want to go to Alan and talk about the new announcements about PyTorch Enterprise. So could you tell us about what is PyTorch Enterprise? Is it a special version of PyTorch, and is it open source?
That's a great question, Aaron. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you great.
Okay, excellent. PyTorch Enterprise is a partnership between Microsoft and PyTorch, a collaboration to create sort of an enterprise-grade version of PyTorch. It is a support program primarily. It is not actually a separate code base, so the code is 100% open source.
Thank you. And while we're on that topic, how do you sign up for PyTorch Enterprise?
Excellent question. PyTorch Enterprise is actually included for all Microsoft Enterprise support customers at no extra charge, which is kind of an amazing benefit. You literally don't have to pay anything else. All you have to do is sign up. If you're already on the support program, either Microsoft Unified Support or Premier Support, you don't have to do anything else. You could start to just open a ticket and you'll reach our team, and we will support you with PyTorch. If you're not yet on that program, but PyTorch Enterprise sounds interesting to you, please reach out to your local Microsoft account representative, and they can get you set up.
Great, thank you. I saw a question just coming in that I will be working on a video pattern recognition app. What are the tools available? I'm an experienced developer, so low code, no code is not necessarily needed. So can that go to Anand?
Yeah, I think we have in the video space, we have quite a few options, right? So essentially on the, if you look at Azure Cognitive Services, we provide spatial analysis that we integrate with scenarios such as, understanding social distancing and various other informations, and also finding patterns inside videos, right? So essentially we have brought all these capabilities into our applied AI services, Azure Video Analytics. I would encourage you to look at the capability for Azure Video Analytics for the regular applied AI service as well as Azure Video Analytics for media. So both of them in a very short period of time, I'll put some links in the chat window so that you can try them out. Thank you again for a great question.
Thank you, Anand. So Andrew, what scenarios does Microsoft use bots for?
We use them for lots of stuff. So the bot framework actually underpins a whole bunch of scenarios across a very wide breadth of stuff. From the customer-facing support bot that you might go talk to if you're using the Microsoft Store. We have lots of Microsoft published apps for something like Teams, where you're talking like the assignments apps. The assignment app for Teams for Education uses the bot framework extensively for its notification system inside Teams. So we have lots of integrations in the Teams world. We also have lots of internal facing bots that we've built. Different teams inside Microsoft have built on our platform for us to use. We have We have bots for tracking, incident management response bots that pull in users and work across Teams and Outlook and sort of all over the place. So we use the bot framework extensively for to help us build applications, to help as customer facing, just interacting through a web or through a telephony channel, and as well as internal facing bots built by just developers at Microsoft who needed to solve a problem. The bot framework's on a lot of different channels, and we use it in a wide variety of canvases.
Thank you, Andrew. So I have another question here about cognitive services for Anand. So you're popular right now. So what is the best way to use AI to extract metadata from unstructured contracts? So we are familiar with Microsoft SharePoint syntax. Is there a solution that cognitive services provide similar to syntax?
Depending on the scenario, I would encourage you to check out Azure Form Recognizer. I will paste a link very, very shortly, depending on what they're trying to do. So I would love to hear more about the scenarios of the unstructured contracts. So we provide with pre-built models, as well as we provide ability to customize the information, so you can build your own custom models with the Form Recognizer. So for Mark, I'll just post a link very, very shortly so that you can check out Form Recognizer. And then there's quite a bit of the following question is, hey, is there anything new? We announced quite a bit of new information, which I'll share the link very, very shortly in terms of the layout understanding. So yeah, and we're also expanding this in many languages because we have customers all over the world. So definitely English plus other languages. So
thank you, Anand. So next question, another one on bot for Andrew. But basically, the factor for overall performance of a chatbot mainly depends on its structure and the quality of data that are available for answering questions. So I was reading somewhere that knowledge graphs are used for enhancing the structure of the bot and also is used for making much more complex bots. Can you please explain about these knowledge graphs, what they are and how efficient they are?
That kind of, not sure what exactly you mean by knowledge graphs. That might be that might be indicating a couple different things. But yeah, let's can we go? I mean, I guess it would really depend on the type of bot, whether or not your knowledge graph was one of your limiting performance factors. Bots serve up a lot of different in a different scenario. So if you're talking a pure Q&A bot, rapid access based on intent recognition to extract the user's intent correctly and discover the right piece of information to attach to that intent or that question might be a limiting factor, but it kind of really depends on the bot scenario. Does anybody from Cognitive Services have anything to add on this one?
I don't have much more to add unless Gary, you want to add some updates to this. So.
Okay, we can move on to the next question, which is a really good question. I'd love all of you to get your viewpoint on. But any recommendations on ways to leverage AI for return to the workplace safety? So I'd love to start with Alan on that one.
Okay, so it's a pretty broad question. I think that one of the first things that we need to do is to define safety. So, you can have physical safety, you can have, safety in discussion, you can have sort of responsible and ethical outcomes. And, depending on the definition, we could potentially look at some tools. So, if we're talking about, if we're talking about sort of, safety in terms of ethical outcomes, Microsoft has an investment in a number of different tools that will actually make AI more fair, make models more fair. It's a little bit off to the side from the topic that we set up the session for, but there are definitely a few pointers, and we can add those to the notes below. Things like fair learn.
Great, thank you. Andrew, do you have anything to add to that? talking about safety in the workplace and any ideas about how we can use AI for that?
So we definitely have seen conversational AI applied in this space quite a bit. A lot of organizations are interested in automated self-attestation for return to work scenarios. So have you been exposed? Those sorts of questions. Our help bot offering has a bunch of custom-built modular solutions that can definitely help in this space. If you are interested in a conversation-based way to interact with your users in return to work scenarios, I would definitely recommend checking out our help bot and seeing what pre-built stuff they have there that can assist.
Great, thank you. And Anand, do you have anything to add?
I talked about spatial analysis in the past. So we provide essentially customers' ability to understand the physical spaces to meet the business requirements. So one of our customers, RXR Reality in New York, uses spatial analysis to safely reopen the building to understand the movement of customers, as well as making sure that people are adhering to the social distancing. We have integrated spatial analytics in our Dynamics 365 to provide retailers with safely opening the retail businesses. So these are some of the areas. We also provide models for mask detection. So you're in a scenario that you have to wear a mask for safety and other things. So overall, I think the area of video understanding is where we provide a lot of, not just for to safely reopen with COVID, but also in terms of industrial safety in other areas. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of, when you talk about safety, it's a broad horizon, right? Even use of advanced AI models to detect faulty power lines. Some of these, our customers use drones to do them. So quite a bit of areas where you can use inspection for safety reasons.
Perfect, thank you. So Alan, can you tell us, does PyTorch Enterprise support Hugging Face?
Excellent question. So PyTorch Enterprise will support the core Torch library and a few additional libraries that depend on PyTorch. It doesn't support Hugging Face explicitly. However, the PyTorch Enterprise program includes an extensive set of tests that we do on every PyTorch release, and those tests include Hugging Face. So, so basically, what it means is that we're taking a step toward making sure that Hugging Face is fully compatibility tested with each new version of PyTorch, and that should, reduce a lot of headaches and improve confidence for people looking to deploy PyTorch and Hugging Face into production.
Thank you, Alan. And the next one I have is, this is going on the new announcement of Bot Composer today. So for Andrew, if I already have a bot, how do I start using the new Bot Composer?
Hi, yeah, so if you already have a bot built on either the Bot Framework SDK or one of our other methods for creating a bot, since, like I alluded to earlier, they're all part of the same platform of technologies. So you can reuse any of the assets that you built in your bot previously in a Bot Framework Composer compatible bot. Really, the difference is the mechanisms used to load those custom dialogues or custom actions or whatever you've already coded for your existing bot. So we provided a bunch of documentation for how to sort of integrate your existing experiences with your Composer bot, and I'll be happy to share more information into the chat on that.
Thank you. And next one for Anand on cognitive services. Can I run cognitive service APIs like the Face API and custom vision on the edge, containerized and totally disconnected? And if so, how do I pay for my consumption when it's occasionally connected?
Yeah, I saw this question from Tim, and I'll ask my colleague Pani to respond in the online chat. Definitely, we provide containers for various AI services. Face API is one area that we are being super careful because of our responsible AI principles. who we give access to. I'll ask Fani to provide information on what areas we provide containers, so you can check out areas such as text analytics and speech and other services where we provide containers. In terms of can we provide, how do we pay for it? Today we have two options for containers. One is connected, where we connect you for billing purposes only. We don't transfer any data. We also are working on disconnected containers and a business model for the disconnected containers. So just wait for our announcements very soon that coming up with how we can provide payments. You can also work with our accounting to do some custom deals until we operationalize the payment aspect for disconnected containers.
Thank you, Anand. So next question is for Andrew on bot. Is there a Teams bot roadmap to integrate Cortana into Teams, like listening to keywords and automatically help find meeting times to set reminders to do things?
Not that I'm aware of, and I will leave it at that.
Thank you. And then next I have for Alan, for the PyTorch Enterprise, does it support on-premises workloads?
It does. So you can get tech support for PyTorch in Azure or on your on-premises workload. We'll support either one. So the answer is good there.
Great, thank you. So now we have more of an open-ended question that will be fun for each of you to answer. So you might need to think for a second, but what things do you wish everyone knew before they started walking down the AI ML bot path? So it's probably pretty extensive, like they said in the question. So if you can think of a couple things that are must know for people entering the space. So Anand, do you want to start?
Erin, do you mind repeating the question one more time? I had some noise here. Sorry, apologies for that.
Oh, sure. So what do you wish that everyone knew before starting with AI, ML, and bot? So what are some of the top things that are must knows for people entering the space newly?
I think most people get very excited and wanted to use AI for the applications, which is great, right? I think things I would encourage everyone is to understand the outcome, as well as understanding how to use it responsibly, and learn a little bit more before using them. Definitely at Microsoft, we are taking efforts to educate the businesses, our customers, with the responsible and ethical use, just like how we many years ago went into the privacy, security, compliance aspect of every software. So that's one area I would definitely encourage our customers to look at all the responsible AI practices that we are providing our customers, as well as how to responsibly use our products also. So we have introduced what is known as the documentation for responsible use of AI. So when they consume services such as spatial analysis, they can also look at the documentation, how to use it responsibly. So that's one area that I would definitely encourage.
Thank you. And Alan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think, some things are pretty obvious, like, 80–90% of your effort is going to be in getting the data. Most likely the technology is pretty good and getting better, but the data, getting the data is just, it's always a challenge. And then I also think that when people embark on an AI ML and, even on a bot journey, I think that the expectations in the short term are too high. And I think the expectations in the long term are not high enough, meaning that like people get super excited about what they're going to get in the first, week, month release, whatever. And I think that those expectations tend to be inflated. But then, once you get it going and then you have kind of incremental improvement kicks in, people really underestimate how much better it gets over, after a couple of months of use. So I would point those things out.
Thanks, Alan. That was great. And Andrew, do you have anything to add to that?
I would definitely echo the expectations. We find that a lot with bots as well. The expectation is typically I can do something amazing very quickly, but then it sort of tapers off, and there's this odd space in the middle, particularly with conversational AI. If you have what I would call a dumb bot or a not intelligent bot, it's very easy to set your users' expectations. It has a button, I click the button and it does something, or it responds to a single word command. Or if you have a very complex bot that does complex things, that has a rich natural language model and all of those sorts of things, that those bots are very successful as well. In between, there's this murky world of my bot does some natural language, but it doesn't do all the natural language, or it doesn't handle interruption, or it doesn't have a help command, or there's this very weird space in between the very simple bot and the very complex bot. And we find a lot of customers get bogged down in there. So it kind of goes back to those expectations where you can do a lot in a very small amount of time, and then your long term, if you keep iterating and evolving your language model and continue to work and train your conversational AI application, you can get to amazing things. But there is definitely a plateau in the middle between the two things, where user expectations might not directly align with the outcomes that the bot developers desire. I think that was one of the things I wish people would power through that a little bit more. It can be frustrating when you're in the middle of tweaking your models to make everything work and be beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you all for those answers. That was really insightful. I like that question. So next one is a scenario for cognitive services for Anand. So say I have a repository of millions of document images with structured data, names, document type classifications, things to redact, things like that. Is it practical to use AI to learn to do the classification and the indexing and redacting going forward on new images?
Yeah, I have a bit of a noise, and hopefully you can hear me well, Erin. Definitely, I think I would encourage, I saw the question, to check out Azure Cognitive Search. We have the ability to bring lots and lots of documents into our storage, index them, classify them, and then do all kinds of redaction. We have quite a bit of samples published on Azure Cognitive Search that I'll post a link very shortly to that question. Essentially, Cognitive Search uses all the AI skills that's provided by vision, text APIs, and then indexes them, and then allows users to retrieve, search, and redact the content.
Great, thank you. We're coming towards the end, so I have one more question, and it's a big one for Andrew. So where do you see the future of the Azure Bot Service?
That's an awesome question. So what we are driving for is, and it actually kind of goes to one of the things that I wish I would have said about the things we wish people would have known, is the unification of conversational and non-conversational user experience, and really bridging the gap between those two things to make the experience as seamless as possible for your end users, so that your application can meet them in whatever context that they're in. We're really starting to see this in Teams, and with the way Teams apps bring together UI-driven experiences in taps, spoken conversational experiences in meetings, and one-to-one conversations with bots, as well as things like messaging extensions. And you're starting to see the ability to have the same bot interacting outside of the Teams channel and sending the same information in multiple places, in multiple contexts. And I think one of the big things that we're going to see in the future is the unification of these various user experiences, and treating the conversational experience as just another interaction canvas for your application to meet with your users. So that's sort of on the interaction side. On the intelligence side, the sky is the limit. We really have we've just begun to scratch the surface of what's really possible in terms of making your bot context aware and keeping track of all and integrating all of these amazing AI services and bringing all of these different bits and pieces together. From, hey, I'm on the phone with my insurance agent and I snap a picture and it goes off and it gets analyzed and that goes into a thing, and then 2 days later I get a text message and that's driven from some other AI thing that says, hey, we predicted that you are likely to need this service at this time, and I can respond to it, and it goes to a conversational bot. We have built up a library of tools that are phenomenal each in their own right. And the next step of this world is bringing all of these things together and making it so that as a developer, you can just build on these experiences seamlessly, and bring all of these pieces together. Each of these things that we've created are amazing. Putting them all together is going to change the way developers build applications forever. And it will be a completely different world in 5 years.
That was great. Thank you, Andrew. And we are at time. So we want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you for the great questions. And also thank you to our experts and the ones on chat answering questions as quickly as they were coming in. So thank you, everybody. I have put some resources into the chat as well. And then there's also the feedback link. So thank you and have a great build.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.